artists playing a role in redefining or building on images, brands,
Yes.
or just improving life and communities?
Yes. Thanks. Good question, Colleen. Well, one of the things that is part of this is there's a lot of talk about attracting and keeping the creative class in cities. The thing about that is that artists and creative people generally are really useful to communities if they're allowed to sort of think and act outside the box about things. One of the things we did in the Twin Cities a few weeks ago is, people started reading about we were the biking city, so we just started to close down whole streets and basically flipped the relationships so that bikes dominated and cars had to wait, And that was, an artist actually took that as an idea and sort of take back the streets for people and bikes. And, so I think part of it is to see the art community and the design community, because you've got, a burgeoning art community here. I know you've got the NDSU School of Architecture right in the downtown. Utilize all that creative energy and not be afraid to pilot some things. Try things out. One of the things that is about, that's sort of part of all this is to say, let's do some short-term experiments that are kind of cheap, easy to do, but get a lot of attention. And those are the kinds of things where the art community can really help, is to not see art as just something that's in the Plains Museum, but as something where you bring artists out on the street, they're working with communities, and they try things. Turning the city into a series of public art actions would be quite interesting, that had a purpose behind them. So they were, demonstrating something about Fargo or showing something that was possible in Fargo, I think would be fantastic. That in itself would probably get you national and international news. So, there's all sorts of things you can do. And actually, some of the ideas that are on this website, I definitely think you should try. I mean, they're amazing, some of these ideas. And just the fact that you're open and willing to try them at very low cost, just take a weekend or, just do it for one day, and maximum publicity are the ways in which you start to generate a buzz about Fargo. And that is the start, I think. So.
Tom, I appreciated the comments before it started on the discussion you and I had of oil supply and demand. Mm-hmm. I'm curious about your thoughts on how a city like Fargo, or the area Fargo-Moorhead, could embrace sort of the green revolution, if so, whether it's windmills, solar, whatnot. How does that all fit into your view of resiliency and so forth in a community? Well,
of course, the natural world is great at using solar and wind, right? I mean, look at it. Look at that tree outside. I mean, that tree thrives on solar energy, right? So nature has figured out how to use all this free energy. We're paying way too much money for energy. I mean, it's ridiculous how much we pay for energy, and we're wrecking the world in the process. And, so the thing is that it's beyond now being a choice. This is no longer a political issue. This is just basic economics. The end of cheap oil is here. It's only going to get more expensive. And the thing about that is that it will force us to be more efficient and to utilize free energy. And because we'll still use oil. I had a grad student who did an experiment. She lived 100 days without oil in the city of Minneapolis. And one of the things that was really a revelation to me was that, we don't just use oil for our cars and to heat our houses. I mean, it is in everything. I mean, it's in our food, our clothing, everything is oil dependent. And as that supply-demand curve takes off, we're going to have to sort of rethink almost everything, where our food comes from, who makes our clothes, where we get things. And one of the things this is going to do is dramatically shrink the sort of supply chains. So that, I mean, it was interesting to me, some of the requests on the website is, well, you know, let's go get some more national big box retailers out at the edge. And I thought, well, you know, that would be fine if this was about 40 years ago maybe, but, you know, those days are over. I would argue that the real opportunity for Fargo is to do the kinds of things that Jane Jacobs wrote in 1970 in this interesting book called The Economy of Cities, where she predicted